You are teaching people to disrespect you right now, and you have no idea you're doing it. I have friends who are clinical psychologists who listen to people describe the same problem over and over. Someone does not respect them. A boss, a parent, a spouse, a friend, and they want to know how to make that person change. After years of this, I finally understood something that most people never figure out. You cannot make anyone respect you. That is not how respect works. But you can stop doing the things that actively invite disrespect into your life. And you are doing those things today, probably within the last hour. I want you to understand something before we go any further. I am not here to make you feel good. I am not going to tell you to stand in front of a mirror and recite affirmations or visualize your best self or any of that nonsense. What I'm going to tell you comes from listening to thousands of people describe their relationships and watching the patterns repeat across the years, from experiences from friends, family, and research. What I'm going to tell you is going to be uncomfortable because it requires you to look at your own behavior instead of pointing at everyone else. Here's the first thing. Stop giving people detailed explanations for your decisions. I mean this seriously. Every time someone questions a choice you've made and you launch into a justification, you are sending a message. The message is that your decisions require their approval, that you need them to understand and agree before you can proceed. Research in psychology has repeatedly shown that excessive self-justification is associated with lower perceived confidence and authority. When you explain yourself to people who have no legitimate reason to require an explanation, guess what happens? You position yourself beneath them in the interaction. You make yourself smaller. A friend of mine mentioned that she had a patient once, a woman in her 40s, very brilliant in her field, who could not understand why her mother still treated her like a child. Every time her mother questioned something, a career move, a parenting choice, anything, this woman would spend 20 minutes defending herself. She would present evidence. She would cite reasons. She would practically build a legal case. And her mother just kept questioning because the explaining itself was the problem. The explaining said, I need you to validate this. I made a suggestion. The next time your mother asks why you did something, just simply say, because I decided to, and then say nothing else. She looked at me like I had asked her to jump off a building. She could not imagine it, but she tried it, and she called me 2 weeks later in tears. She said her mother had been confused at first, then irritated, and then for the first time, she could remember actually respectful. The endless explanations had been training her mother to expect a vote on every decision. When she stopped, the dynamic shifted. Here's the second thing, and this one is harder. You need to become comfortable with silence. I do not mean the kind of silence where you're sitting inside and planning your response. I mean actual silence. When someone says something disrespectful to you, you do not have to respond immediately. You do not have to respond at all. Research has shown that people who respond instantly to provocation are perceived as more reactive and less authoritative than those who pause. And so silence is not passive. Silence is a choice. It communicates something powerful. It says, I am not going to play this game with you. I had a colleague years ago who was constantly being interrupted in meetings by a younger man who clearly did not take her seriously. And so she came to me frustrated. She had tried everything, asserting herself, calling him out, making jokes. Nothing worked. And so I suggested she tries something different. The next time he interrupted her, she should stop talking, not argue, not protest. Just stop and then look at him. Just look, do nothing else. She tried it. The next time he spoke over her, she simply stopped. She didn't look away. She didn't look angry. She just looked at him with a natural or with a neutral, steady gaze or gaze. She just looked at him with a neutral, steady gaze. The silence lasted maybe 5 seconds, but in a boardroom, 5 seconds feels like an hour. He became visibly uncomfortable, trailed off, and eventually said, "Sorry, go ahead." He never interrupted her again. By refusing to fight for her space, she demonstrated that the space was already hers. When you scramble to talk over someone, you are acknowledging their power to stop you. When you wait, you are demonstrating that your words are worth waiting for. The third thing you must do is stop apologizing for existing. I am not talking about when you make a genuine mistake. If you hurt someone or mess up a project, apologize. But most of you are over-apologizers. You say sorry when you ask a question. You say sorry when you need to get past someone in a hallway. You say sorry when you express an opinion. Every unnecessary apology is a tiny withdrawal from your status. It tells the world that you believe you're a nuisance. And so research in linguistics suggests that women in particular are socialized to use sorry as a conversational filler to soften the presence or their presence. But in a professional or high-stakes social environment, it doesn't make you polite. It makes you look uncertain. It may take time and it may be uncomfortable, but the alternative is a lifetime of being treated like someone who doesn't matter. While you do matter, your time matters, your decisions matters, your choice matters. The transition from being a pleaser to being the person of authority is a journey. And so it requires unlearning decades of social conditioning that told you to be nice, to be accommodating, and to never make waves. But nice is not the same thing as kind. You can be a kind person while still being firm about your boundaries. In fact, you cannot be truly kind to others if you are not first kind to yourself by protecting your own energy and self-worth today. If this resonated with you, please like, comment, share, subscribe so we can build this community. Thank you for watching.